Okay, so there was a slight disaster with the recording of the Pilates from Thursday night just gone. The video recorded and it looks fine, looks exactly the same as it did last week, but the audio for some reason didn't record. The person that recorded it for me did exactly the same thing as they did last week. There's nothing different, and they could hear me. They did the class just fine, but yeah, they couldn't hear when we looked at the recording afterwards. Couldn't hear it. So my plan is to do my best to remember what I taught and how many reps there were, and to try and talk you through what I'm doing on the video, because the idea is you wouldn't actually be looking at me, you'll just listen to what I'm doing, and if you need to have a quick glance up you can, but because your head has to stay in line with your spine during most of the movements, it's quite difficult for you to look at a screen while also doing the movement properly. So for those that haven't done Pilates before, it's all about control, breathing, and moving one part of your body while other parts stay still, increasing the strength in your core and in your hip flexors and stuff like that as well. So you're going to start, and you won't be able to see my head either in this point, but you'll just be able to listen to what I'm saying. You're going to start with setting your bodies up into perfect positioning, and then we're going to transition you down to the floor and do some stuff down there. So you're going to start, your feet are going to be underneath your body and they're going to be touching. You're going to take your heels out to the corners of the room, and then your toes are going to come out in line with those heels. This is making your feet hip width apart. From this position, you're going to take a slight bend in your knees. You're going to take your hands to the bony bits at the front of your hips, and you're going to hold on. You're going to tilt your pelvis all the way forward. So if you had a bucket of water, you'd be spilling water out of the front instead of a pelvis. And then you're going to reverse it all the way back so the water would go out of the back of the bucket. And you're going to keep switching. You're going to tilt it forward, tip it back. And you're going to go from those positions, each extreme range of motion. You're not moving your spine stays nice and still. It's just the pelvis, the hips, the bony bits moving back and forward. Then try and find the center so your bucket wouldn't be spilling water either way. And from that position, you're going to straighten your legs without moving your hips. So your hips stay where you've just set them. Your hands move up to your rib cage, and you're going to take a deep breath in through your nose. You're going to expand those hands out and then out through the mouth. So it's a big breath in through the nose, hands press out into the sides of the body, and then out through the mouth. 2 more. In, fill those ribs up, press the hands out, and then out, close the ribs down. In, breathing deep and wide, and then out through the mouth. Hands come back down by the sides, and you're going to close your eyes. You're going to rock forward into your toes and then back into your heels. So you're trying to find the center point of your feet. When you find the center, you're going to go left and you're going to go right. So you're just shifting your weight, keeping the whole foot in contact with the ground, but we're just trying to find the center of that foot. Lower body is set now. We're going to look at lifting an imaginary ball. So you're going to imagine a ball in between the pelvis. It can be any size and any color. And as it moves, that ball is going to lift the muscles with it. So it's going to go from between your pelvis. It's going to sit there for a second. It's then going to move up, and it's going to go past your belly button. Past your belly button, it goes up into the rib cage. So you're moving slowly up through the body, up through the rib cage, underneath the chin. As it goes past your chin will lift through the center of your head. And as it comes out the top of your head, you're imagining I'm pulling on the top of your head like a piece of string. So you're standing nice, tall and upright. You're going to lift your shoulders. You're going to drop them back and down. Lift, roll them back and down. Lift, roll them back and down. You're going to leave your shoulder blades tucked into your back pocket. So your chest should be open. Your hands should be down the sides of your legs. So not forward and not back, down directly to beside your body. This is your perfect posture. This is where we're aiming to work from in all of our positions, movements and things today. It's going to feel a little bit odd. From this position, we're going to transition you down onto the floor. I'm just talking about here how this is where you should be in life. So if you ever feel like you're crouching or slouching or anything like that, this is where you need to come back to. So making sure we are set. So pelvis is tucked under, feet are hip width apart, everything is lifted in the middle of the body, breathing nice and naturally through the nose, out through the mouth. we're going to transition you down to the floor. So you're going to tuck your chin, you're going to roll your shoulders forward, and you're going to peel yourself off of an imaginary wall behind you. So each little bit of your spine just inches away from that wall, and you curve forwards. So you're folding forwards, bending each piece of that spine, peeling away from that wall until you are folded forward as much as you can be. Your hands might not be on the floor, that is absolutely fine, but you are just bending forwards. Chill there for a second, wiggle from side to side, get comfortable being there. Feel a long stretch down the back of the legs, through your lower back. And you're going to take your palms to the floor, either by bending your legs or by turning your hands over. Gaze should be through the legs. Your hands are now flat down. You're going to walk your hands 3/4 of the way down the mat. Your head's going to press through, your chest's going to press through towards your legs, your hips are going to be high, and your heels are pressing towards the floor. They may not be in contact with the ground, but they are pressing down. And you're going to drop one heel and then the other. So you're pedaling, swapping feet, bending the legs slightly as you lift the heel up, and you should intensify the stretch down each side of your body. Small lower and lift on each side, just stretching down the back of each leg. From there, take your hands further forward and bring yourself into a high plank. So your shoulders are over your wrists and your shoulders are in line with your hips and your ankles. Drop down to your knees. Take your toes together, spread your knees wide, send your hips back towards your heels, chest and head drops towards the floor. Arms are extended out fully in front. If that's too uncomfortable, you're going to go onto your elbows and lean on your forearms, but ideally head and chest through towards the floor, relaxing. A few deep breaths in and out here. This is a restful position. This is a position that you come back to at any point in this class where things get a little bit too much through your wrists, or you just need to take a couple of breaths away and then come back in. So this is the position you come back to relax. We are going to talk about, coming up, how to set yourselves on your hands and knees. I'm just going over options for resting on the forearms if you want to have a look at how that looks versus with the arms extended. There's going to be a lot of pressure through the wrists and the shoulders, so take your time coming in and out of the movements. When we set up on our hands and our knees, this is what we're going to do now. So we're on all fours. Your shoulders want to be directly above your wrists and your hips want to be directly above your knees, and everything is hip or shoulder width apart. The weight isn't too far forward over your wrists and it's not too far back into your legs. So you've got a 50-50 distribution of weight from the front of the body to the back of the body. So nothing is taking too much of the pressure. The feet are relaxed onto the floor. We're just going to warm the wrists up to start with. So we're gazing down between our hands. Everything is nice and neutral. You're just going to rock forward. So the pressure is going to go through your forearms, and I stretch through the forearms. And you're going to sit back to get rid of that pressure. Going forward again. So the long stretch up your forearms. Nothing painful. Just getting the wrist warm and ready. Rock back onto the heels and then forward over the wrists. Arms stay straight throughout, gaze is down. Just warming those wrists up, getting them ready to be used and to have pressure through them for the next part of the actual workout. So again, rocking forward over the wrists and sitting back onto the heels to take the pressure away. Your next one is this. You're going to take one hand off the mat. You're going to reach through the other arm and the other leg. So you're almost threading a needle. Your shoulder's going to roll towards the floor and you're going to round your spine. And then you're going to turn, opening to the side, arm reaching up, looking towards the sky. So thread the needle through, shoulder towards the floor. And then rotating and opening towards the sky. Look up towards the hand as you go overhead. Threading the needle, twisting through that spine. And then reaching, twisting in the opposite direction. I think we did 5 of these tails. There's 2 more on this side, staying with the same side. Reaching through, opening towards the ceiling. Last one, reach through, round, twist through the spine, and then reach up towards the sky. Exactly the same on the other side. So you thread that needle, you thread that arm through, the shoulder goes towards the floor, and then you rotate and you reach towards the sky and you look up. So we're twisting through that mid-spine. A big rotation, getting one arm used to bearing weight. Thread through, get that shoulder as close to the ground as possible. It may not touch, it's fine as long as you're feeling a twist through your spine. Arm goes through, thread the needle, and then rotate up towards the sky. One more. Sliding underneath, through the gap, and then looking as far around as we can. Pressing back into child's pose, take some pressure off of your wrists, give them a wiggle. Find a nice, comfortable, relaxed position that you can chill in between, using those wrists for support. Just taking the weight off of the wrists to give them a little bit of a break before we go back onto the hands and knees. Again, you can lean on the forearms, or you can lay the hands out and the head down towards the floor if that is more comfortable for you. In your own time, coming back up to hands and knees, so remembering 50-50 weight distribution, hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and we're going to work through some cats and some cows. So your gaze is going to come forward, your belly button's going to drop towards the floor, and you're turning your bum up towards the sky, and then you're going to reverse it, so you're going to tuck your bum under, you're going to look through towards your legs, and you're going to press that mid-spine up towards the sky. This is like an angry cat. Belly button drops, head comes through, bum rounds, and then reverse it. Press up into the sky, look through towards the legs, big rounding of that back, and then we reverse the movement. So we go the other way. We're tilting that pelvis to be open, and then we push that spine up towards the sky, looking through, just taking a second or two at each end range of motion. Find the central point between the two. So my belly button's not dropping towards the sky, my back's not rounding, it's nice and flat, it's in line with my pelvis, my belly button's pulled towards my spine, and my bum is slightly tucked underneath. This is your neutral, your setup position for all of the work that you will do in your hands and your knees. Sitting back into child's pose again, taking again the pressure off of those wrists. I think the next part is the hard work on the hands and knees that we're coming to. Going to be spending a little bit of time. I think we do 10 reps on each side of the first movements. So coming back to that perfect setup that we just worked on, grab a drink if you need one. Before we go on to the harder stuff on the hands and knees, we're going to do 10 reps on one side, and then we're going to do 10 reps on the other side of this first movement. So perfect setup, hands are underneath shoulders, knees under hips, and our neutral spine is engaged, belly button is pulled up, bum is slightly tucked underneath. Your leg's going to lift out to the side, so your leg's going to stay straight, and it's the only thing that's going to lift. So not straight, stay straight, stay bent. It's the only thing that's going to lift, and it's going to go out to the side and then back in, touching the floor in between. At no point do your hips want to rotate, so my pelvis stays pointed towards the floor, and you're just going to lift and you're going to lower. You're going to inhale to prepare, and you're going to exhale to lift that leg to the side. If you need to rewind and watch some of the other bits and pieces again so you can see it, but there's demonstrations. So we're going for 10 reps now. So we're going to exhale as we lift the leg to the side, inhale to bring it back in. So the same bend in the leg the whole time, we're just rotating through that hip joint, but those hips stay pointed down towards the floor. So it might be a smaller range of motion than you're expecting. This is number 3, exhale on the way up, inhale on the way back down. Exhale as you lift that leg to the side, pelvis stays down, control, inhale on the way in. Exhale, take it out, inhale, bring it back in. Shoulders don't move, back doesn't move, hips don't move, it's just that leg moving out, and inhale as you bring it back in. Lift with control, lower with control. Exhale as you lift to the side, inhale as you bring it back in. Still on this same side, you're going to feel it in your bum, maybe a little bit in the back of your leg, the side of your leg, but moving with control, precise small lifts of the leg. Take the pressure off of the wrist, sit back for a second, and then we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So it's going to be 10 reps on the other side. Take your time in between movements. I think I'm telling everybody now that it's got a very fancy name called Doggy Goes for a Wee Wee, because this is pretty much what it looks like, a male dog going for a wee. And we're going to get ready, and we're going to go on the other side. This is rep number 1 on the other side. So you lift with control, you lower with control. Exhale as you take the leg up, inhale as you bring the leg down. So we use that exhale to help lift that leg to the side. Again, pelvis stays nice and solid, doesn't rock, doesn't tilt, doesn't open up with the leg. Just the leg opens and then the leg closes. Lifting up as we exhale, gaze stays down, belly button stays pulled towards spine. Lifting again, lowering, lift, try and stay in time, and lower, lifting that leg to the side, placing it back down in between. Upper body stays still, mid-spine doesn't rotate. Exhale to help lift with control. Inhale to help bring the leg back down with control. Pushing back into child's pose once you've done your 10 reps. Take the pressure off of the wrists. A few deep breaths in here. Take your time in between the movements. You need to pause, you can pause. There's no rush. My pace does not have to be your pace. Again, we're going to come up onto the hands and knees and we're going to do 10 reps, but it's going to be slightly different. So this time, instead of going out to the side, we're going to slide our leg back. So if you watch a couple of them before you start, you will slide your toes across the mat until your leg is straight. And then you will slide your leg back into that start position. So at no point do my toes lose contact with the floor. I'm not lifting my leg. I'm just taking it from that start position, extending it out behind me, and then bringing it back in. My hips again aren't moving. My belly button's pulled up and engaged. I'm gazing between my hands, and we're going to start with one leg, do a little break for our wrists, and then do the other leg. So this first leg's going to slide out as we exhale. Pause at the end of the range of motion and then bring it back in as we inhale. Exhaling again, slide the toes out, leg goes straight. Inhale, bring that leg back to the first position. Exhale, take it away. Inhale, bring it back in. Again, placing that leg down, don't drop it. Exhale, take it back. Moving with control. Inhale, bring it back in. Exhale, slide the toes along the mat or the floor, hips stay still. Inhale, bring the leg down. Exhale, take it back, nearly there on these ones. Inhale, slide that leg back in. Exhale, sliding slowly along the mat with control. Inhale, bringing it back down. Exhale, sliding out. Inhale, slide back in. Taking that leg back. Moving precisely, hips aren't rocking from side to side, bringing it back in. Leg goes back, hips stay still. Bringing that leg back to the start position. Sit back, either on your hands and knees or in child's pose. Give your hands a little shake out, give them a rest. And then we're going to go and do exactly the same on the other side. So take your time, come back to your hands and knees, and we're going to repeat the same process on the other leg. So we're setting up, inhale to get ready, and then you will exhale to slide that leg back. Oh, she's still talking. Right, slide that leg back, that's the first rep. Inhale, bring it back in, exactly the same as we did on the first side. Exhale, slide the toes back along the mat. Inhale, bring it back in. One side will be easier than the other. Take it out. And then bring it back in. Everything is with control, taking your time. Exhale, slide. Inhale, replace. Exhale, slide it back. Keep those hips still, that belly button pulled towards the spine. Inhale, bring it down. Exhale, slide back. Inhale, bring it in. Shoulders stay still, belly button up. Exhale, out. Gazing down. Inhale, in. Exhale, sliding back. Inhaling as the leg is placed down with control. Exhale, take the leg back. Must be nearly there by now. Inhale, placing it back down with control. Exhale, sliding out, toes in contact with the floor throughout. Inhale, bring it back in. Push back into child's pose, knees go wide. Head and chest towards the floor. Take the pressure off that lower back and off of those wrists. Give them a little stretch, a wiggle. Just get them a little bit looser after having the pressure put through them. With your next one, you can stick with the option that we've just done, sliding out and sliding back in, or we are going to do a lift at the back. So you'll slide out as you did before, and then once you've slid back, you will lift and then lower back down, sliding back in. So we're just adding a lift once that leg has been slid out for the back. It's not an excessive lift. You're not rocking your hips as you lift. There's no rotation as I'm showing there, none of that. Hips stay down. It's a small lift off the floor and a small lower with control, sliding out, lifting, placing back down, sliding back in. Or forget the lift completely and just slide out and slide in as we did before. We're doing 5 reps, I believe, of this one. So we slide as we exhale, we lift, we lower, and we slide back in. Exhale, slide out, lift, everything else is the same, drop down, bring it back in. Belly button stays pulled up, hips stay still, taking the leg back, lifting up, lowering down, and then sliding back in. Same again, extend, lift, lower, bring the leg back into the start position. Extend, lift, lower, bring the leg back in. Sit back, take the pressure off the wrists nice and quickly, and we're going to move straight on to the same thing on the other side. So coming back to the hands and knees, we're doing 5 reps again, but we're doing them on the other side. So it's the other leg this time that is going to be doing the work. So it slides out as we exhale, we lift, we lower, and we slide it back in. Repeating the same thing, slide, lift, lower, and slide back in. No dropping of the spine, keep it engaged, extend the leg out, lift, lower, bring the leg back in. Exhale to do the work, belly button to spine, foot out, lift, lower, and then the foot comes back in. One more time, I think. Slide out, lift, lower, pelvis stays still, slide it back in. Slide, lift, lower, and then slide back into the start position. Child's pose again. Hips go wide. No, knees go wide, hips go back, reaching forward either on the forearms or head and chest towards the floor. A few deep breaths. Take the pressure away from those wrists. Relax into this position. Just take a few breaths. Grab a drink if you need one. We're going to transition, I believe, onto seated now. So we're done on our hands and knees. We're going to be seated. If you have a pillow or a cushion, it may be helpful in the next part, but you can do it without. So I'm now talking about that in the video. I'm getting a ball out. If you've got a Pilates ball or a pillow for your bed or a cushion from your sofa, you can pop that under your lower back and it'll help sit you up nice and tall when you are leaning back slightly, because some people find it very difficult to sit tall throughout these movements. So you're going to sit on your bum and you're going to get your bum cheeks out of the way so that you are sat on the bony bits of your bum. You're going to have your knees and your feet hip width apart, and there is a 90-degree angle at your knees. Your feet are flat on the floor. So my knees aren't dropping out to the side wide unless you're pregnant. And they aren't touching in between. So if you're pregnant, make them slightly wider so there's space for your bump. Hands are going to go behind you for support to start with, but your shoulders should not be by your ears. Later on, we'll transition to the hands out to the side. Sitting as tall as you possibly can. Your chest is going to be open. No shoulders by the ears, as I said. And we're going to work through some hip flexor stuff. So you're going to inhale. As you exhale, you're just going to float one foot up off of the mat. And then you're going to inhale as you take it back down. So you're going to get it in the top of your hip. Inhale to get ready. Exhale, and you're going to float the foot up. So the leg stays bent. Inhale, take it down. Exhale and lift. Inhale, take it down. So you're going to get this right in the top of your hip. Exhale as you lift. Inhale as you lower. Your hips are not supposed to rock. Everything is going to stay still other than that leg. That leg just lifts and lowers. Placing it down with control. Do not drop it. Lifting and lowering. Exhale as you lift. Inhale as you place it down with control. I think we do 10 total. Lifting and lowering. Just about a couple of inches off the floor. Leg stays in the same bent position, only as far as you can go without your body moving. Lifting and lowering. Shake that leg out. Extend that leg out straight that you've just used. Take the pressure off the top of that hip. Give it a little wiggle. And then we're going to swap to the other side. So bring that leg back up to bent. We're going to go exactly the same on the other side. So we're going to inhale to get ready. Exhale as we lift the foot. Just floating it. Exhale. Inhale as you take it down. Exhale as you lift it up. So just floating that leg up. Inhale to take it down. Exhale to lift with the same amount of bend, always. Inhale and lower. Exhale and lift with control. Body stays still. Inhale and lower. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower down. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, low. We must nearly be there by now. Lifting. Keep the breath with it. Lowering. Lifting. And lowering. Extend that leg out straight on the mat. Give it a wiggle. Give it a little bit of a break. It's done a lot of hard work up in the top of that hip. We're going to go onto our arms extended out in front. So they're going to be up parallel to the floor. You can stay behind if you prefer it there, but to make it a bit more challenging, hands are going to be up parallel to the floor by the sides of the legs. We're going to go from one side straight into the other side. So we're inhaling, we're going to lift the leg, and we're going to lower it. Same thing we've done before. Lift and lower, but now we haven't got those hands on the floor for support. Lift and lower. Lift as we exhale, lower as we inhale. Lifting and lowering. Swap to the other side. Lift as you exhale, lower as you inhale. Lift as you exhale, inhale as you bring that leg back down. Lifting and lowering, just a small lift. Same movement as before, just hands are elevated and lower. Lift and lower. Extend the legs out, give them a little shake, take the pressure away. We're going to advance the movement now, I believe, if I remember correctly. It's going to be a lift and a lower if you are happy to stay there. If not, I think we're going to add an extension of the leg out. So hands will go back behind. You're going to lift. You're going to extend the leg to straight. You're going to rebend the leg and then you're going to place it down. So you watch the demonstration of that one. So it's going to be inhale to get ready. Exhale to lift, extend, bend and lower. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, lift, extend, bend and lower. Same again. Lift, extend. You don't have to extend if it's too difficult. Bend and lower. Lift, extend, bend and lower. Swapping sides, so we've done one rep on the other side. Second rep, lift, extend, bend and lower. You don't have to point your toes. Lifting, extending, bending and lowering. Moving with control and precision. Lifting, extending, bending and lowering. Take your time. Lift, extend, bend and lower. Extend those legs out, give them a shake. Take the pressure off of those hip flexors. Again, we are going to progress. We're going to bring the hands up if you want to, or we're going to leave them behind, whichever one is good for you. You're going to lift, extend, bend and lower if you want. You can stay there, or with the single just lifts. Or you're going to lift, extend, tap the heel to the floor, lift it back up, bend and then lower. So it's exactly the same as before, but we're adding a tap down with the heel after we've extended the leg out to straight. Starting with your first leg, hands can either be behind or they can be extended out to the side, whichever one you're more comfortable with. You're going to inhale to get ready. Exhale and lift, extend, lower, lift, bend, place the leg down. Breathe out. Lift, extend, lower, lift, bend. lift, extend, tap down, lift back up, bend the leg, lower it down. Mental challenge, lift, extend, tap the heel to the floor, lift, bend, and then lower back down. Lift, extend, lower, lift, bend, place the leg back down or ahead. Lift, extend, tap down, bring the leg back in. Shake that leg off, moving over to the other side. Exactly the same again. Whichever scaling option you did on that first side, do on this second side. Lift, extend, lower, lift, bend, bring the foot down. Same again. Lift, extend, tap down, raise it up, bend, tap down, lift, extend, tap, lift, bend, and lower. Nearly there. Lift, extend, tap down, raise up, bend, and lower down. Keep breathing throughout. Lift, extend, tap the heel down, lift it up, bend, and lower the foot. Straighten those legs out, give them a shake. You're nearly there on the hard work. You have one more option left with this one. Again, if you've stuck with an option thus far, stay with the option that you're with. Again, hands can be behind or hands can be extended out in front, completely up to you. The final option is going to add a rotation in. So it's exactly the same as we've just built through. I'll wait until we start the demo so I can talk you through it. But you'll set up exactly the same. What you will do to add in this time is you will lift the leg, extend it out to straight, tap it down, lift up, rotate one way, rotate the other, bend the leg, and then place the foot back down. So once you've lifted up, you will rotate one way and then the other. With a straight leg, toes pointed, drawing a circle with your toes. 5 each side, moving straight from one leg into the other, and then we've done all of the hard work for the evening. So hands behind or hands in front, whichever one you prefer. We're going to do 5 each side. So inhale to get ready. Exhale as you lift, extend, tap down, lift, rotate one way, rotate the other way, bend and lower. Lift, extend, tap down, lift. Small rotation one way, small rotation the other way, bend and lower. Hips stay still throughout. Lift, extend, tap down, lift. Rotate one way, rotate the other, bend and lower. Lifting, extending, tapping down, lifting, rotate one way, rotate the other, small movements, bend and lower. Last one, lift, extend, tap down, lift, rotate one way, rotate the other, bend and lower. Shake that leg out, straighten it off, hip flexors are getting tired now. Last set of 5 coming up on the other side. So getting ready in your start position. Legs set up properly, hands either behind or in front, up to you, same as you did on the first side. Inhale, lift, extend, tap down, lift, rotate one way, rotate the other, bend and place the foot down. One side will be easier than the other. Lift, extend, rotate tap down, lift, rotate, bend, tap the foot down. Lift, extend, tap down, lift up, rotate one way, rotate the other way, bend, place back down. We're nearly there, a few more reps. Lift, extend, tap the heel to the floor, lift it up, small circle one way, small circle the other way, bend the leg, place the foot back down onto the mat. Almost done. Lift, extend, tap down, lift up, rotate one way, rotate the other way, bend, and then place the foot down. Please keep breathing naturally throughout. Exhale as you lift, extend, tap down, lift up, rotate one way, rotate the other way, bend, and placing down with control. Extend the legs out, give them a shake. That is all of the hard work done. Get rid of your ball or your towel or whatever it is you were using. And we're just going to get you from the floor, hopefully back up. Take your time, spin yourselves around so you're on your hands and knees like we were in the previous exercises that we were doing. Take a few breaths. All the hard work is done. From this position, you're going to bring your toes together, take your knees wide. You're going to press back into a final child's pose, either on the forearms or with the head and chest pushed through towards the floor. Deep breath in and out. Fill in those lungs and then press in the air out through your mouth. Hips go back towards heels, reaching long through the fingertips. Relaxing here, we're almost done. Few breaths. From this position, you're going to press into a downward facing dog. So your hips are going to go high. You're making that triangle shape again. Your head's going and your chest's going through towards your legs. Your heels are going towards the floor. They may not touch. Again, if you want to pedal your heels left and right, long stretch down the backs of each of those hamstrings into those glutes. Just chilling out here. And then slowly walk your hands back towards your feet. Stay down. Bend your knees if you need to, head looking through the legs, folded forward as we were in the warm-up when we came down. And then ever very, very slowly, you're going to peel yourself back up. So you're going to tuck your bum underneath, head stays down towards the legs. And ever so slowly, you're going to place your spine back onto the wall, imaginary wall behind you. Head and shoulders stay rounded, working from the bottom of the back up the spine towards the top of the back. And once your spine is completely stacked, you're going to roll your shoulders back. You're going to lift your chin and you're going to set yourself back in that original posture that we had at the beginning. So feet are underneath hips, bum slightly tucked, all your muscles of your midline are lifted, shoulders and chest are open. And we're back into that perfect posture that we created when we first started today. So everything is lifted. We're in that toy soldier, perfect skeletal stacking. I'm going to lift your shoulders as you inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to drop them down. Lift and inhale. Drop them down. As you exhale, release any stress. Inhale and lift. Exhale and drop those shoulders away. Congratulations, you have finished another Pilates. Well done.